It's a complete nonsense we have been living. Education was suppressed and oppressed and persecuted in the hands of the triangulated collusion of the political power, social power and economic power. National Education Policy 2020 is more notorious than the notorious policies that the world had witnessed under the leadership of Nazis and fascists. If you believe God, you just believe it. So what? Your God is not going to come and tell you that this is the knowledge and this is the science. Nowhere. Divided, segregated, watertight compartment caste system would not allow the people to exchange ideas and reveal the truth. Until I see this NEP is rejected and thrown out of India, I will live. Right? I will live. I'm having a coat and pant, and yes, I am a barbarian. I'm going to be a barbarian in the NEP 2020. Dear brothers and sisters, and the organizers of this great event, the members and office bearers and leadership of All India Safe Education Committee, and dear participants and my co-speakers, good afternoon. I think the previous speakers have addressed almost all aspects of the national education policy and its implications in the way in which education is going to head in India in future and spoil this country and the society at large. What I am going to touch is about the plot and hidden secrets and the hidden agenda of the onset of National Education Policy 2020 and how a policy has to be drafted and what are the missing issues in the national education policy and why it is a failure and it's a disaster and why it should be rejected. So with few points I would like to just conclude my speech because we don't have much time. You see, the title, the conference is entitled Save Education. It's organized by Save Education Committee. It shows that we have to save education from those who are oppressing and suppressing education. Education has been put in the clutches of those who are at the helm of the affairs. I mean, those who have the political power, those who have social power, and those who have social authority, and those who have the economic power. I mean the market forces. So this is a triangulated collusion between the political power and the social power and economic power. It's a collusion, is teamed up together, and education is handled by these collective colluded forces, these triangulated forces, to in their own favor, for the benefit of the few, but against the majority. That is the problem. This country has been facing for several thousand years, couple of millennium. If you could notice the propagation of education and the way in which education has been handled in the past, you could see that only that education has favored and benefited the few and disfavored and against the majority of the people. At one point of time in the Indian human evolution, we could notice at least a millennium, at least 2 millennium or 1.5 millennium, we could notice that education has been denied to the majority of the people. So this is the country where we are living in, and education has been denied. We are not talking about the quality of education. We are talking about denial of education that this country has witnessed. And when India got freedom, the literacy rate was about 4.5%, just around 4.5%, and the women were about 0.5%, and men were about 7% to 8%. That's the literacy rate. And you go now and talk and ask questions, just even now today in the era of information, in the era of scientific revolutions happening and technological revolutions happening these days, you go and ask a question now even in India, whether this planet is globe or flat. You would probably get an answer that the globe is flat, majority of the people. Certainly, because We are talking about India. I'm talking about United States. Even in United States, the majority of the people are still thinking that the globe is the flat, where the literacy rate is so high. The information is surging to every household. And this is the education we have been receiving in the past 70 years of independence. Imagine what is the kind of education we have been receiving after independence. Forget the past, because the past was completely a period of nonsense. It's completely a period of nonsense, especially in the 1500 years since now, from now backwards. There was no scientific life in India. There were no discoveries and scientific developments in India. Why? Because we were all suppressed and oppressed and not to receive education, and we were dominated by the religious and social and so-called social and political agenda, and they were oppressing us, and they denied education. And most often that we talk about spirituality, or most of our literature, just 1500 years old, in South India at least, you could notice that most of the literature and literary works were focusing on what? Spirituality. Spirituality means, I would say that it is unknown science. Spirituality, the way I would like to define is unknown science. It's a metaphysics. You and me can define in our own favor. We can invent gods. We can invent all philosophies and tell the people that this is it. It's a complete nonsense we have been living. Education was suppressed and oppressed and persecuted in the hands of the triangulated collusion of the political power, social power, and economic power. That we must first understand that education did not do anything so far in this country except some awareness and literacy. I can read and write now. I'm from an agricultural background. I can read and write. Is that what education means then? It's a complete nonsense, I would say. And it was in favor of few and against the majority of the people. That is the problem in this country. What's the root cause then? And now it has culminated with a notorious policy that the world has ever witnessed. A notorious education policy that the world has ever witnessed is National Education Policy 2020. The world also has witnessed such notorious policies under the notorious leaderships. We all have, our forefathers have just recently witnessed last century Mussolini and Hitler. The Nazism of Hitler and the fascism of Mussolini were driven not by weapons. You all must understand first. It was by education. The education started at the age of 6. The Nazist and fascist philosophies were taught to the children at the age of 6 onwards. And the leaders, the so-called leaders, directly involved in defining the subject matters of instruction, the syllabus, the contents. And the soldiers were appointed as teachers. The same thing is happening now. Our teachers are just the soldiers and army of the kind of the cultural revivalism, the traditional Indian, traditional centric education that these people are talking about in the National Education Policy alone. And these are all the soldiers. I am also a soldier. Vice Chancellor, I have to be a soldier to listen the people and take the whip of the people at the Delhi, and I have to implement it. I'm a soldier now. As an individual Vice Chancellor, I have no authority and power to just at least voice my concerns about the education philosophy in this country. That is the fate of the Vice Chancellor in this country. Then I don't know, I cannot imagine the fate of the people, the common man in this country. But I would just submit to the honorable members here, the listeners here, please, my dear friends, the National Education Policy 2020 is more notorious than the notorious policies that the world had witnessed under the leadership of Nazis and fascists in Italy and Germany. So I don't want to talk much about what has been spelled out by co-speakers, but I'm just going to highlight a few points about the National Education Policy and its failure to address the basic concerns of education, the basic objectives of education, what it is. What is the objective of the education then? It's making the society to get maturity from generation to generation. That's it, very simple. And as individual members, as a part of the society, we are enlightened in that maturity process. And that maturity, is the manifestation of several human activities and the discoveries and inventions. So the manifestation of the maturity lies in the ability of the society, to discern its inventions, to identify the truth and propagate the truth, and enable elsewhere all society members to be enlightened and resolve the challenges and problems that they face in contemporary times. That must be the idea of education. Have we done that? So that is the maturity. The manifestation of maturity lies in the ability of the society to overcome its problems, the challenges that contemporarily it faces through its human endeavors. And that endeavor is nothing but identifying the truth and implementing the truth and follow those truths on day-to-day basis. The truth is nothing but the knowledge, and it emanates from the human experience. It doesn't come from the sky or doesn't come from gods. We must first understand these thoughts. If you believe God, you just believe it. So what? Your God is not going to come and tell you that this is the knowledge and this is the science. Nowhere in the history, no evident in the history that we have witnessed that the God has come down from heaven and told us this is what A plus B whole square is about, and this is what the theory of relativity is about, or theory of gravity is about. So you please dissociate. Don't bring your religious sentiments and your religious cultural venturism into education. That is the wrongness. And we have the so-called enlightened society, a segment of the society which has the social authority and social power. That is the power even to tell the political power and the economic power that this is what education is about. That is what is happening now in the name of national education policy that we must understand. We don't understand. We don't want to understand. That is the problem. That these people take advantage and try to impose whatever they think funny ideas in the name of education and inculcate on us. That we must oppose. If we are a human being, we must think about it and react to it. If you are going to be animals simply or inert materials, we just leave the way as we have been living for 3,000 years and 2,000 years under this nonsense social structure, a hierarchically degraded social structure that we have. And that they need education to majority of the people, you please don't forget it. Do you have the national education policy having any answer in its 66 pages document to this kind of a society that we have in this India? Do we have? And one thing that education shows its maturity, that I told you the maturity, the manifestation of the maturity also lies in the ability of the society to close, to bridge the gap between the known science and the unknown mysteries and myths. That is what the maturity of the society is about, and that is where education has to play a catalytic and crucial role. But education couldn't play that role because it is under the hands and the clutches of those people who wants to suppress majority of the people of this country. This is what happened. The society's maturity lies in its ability to to bridge between the known science and unknown mysteries and myths. That's why I told you that even today people do not know whether the earth is globe or flat. A survey was done in United States. I am quoting United States. I am not quoting India or Ghana or Rwanda or other underdeveloped countries. The so-called aware countries do not know whether the earth is flat or globe. That is what education has failed even in United States and globally, world at large, not only in India. But the manifestations are different in different parts of the world. That we must agree. You and me must agree now. I'm not imposing any of my viewpoints to you. You please think and take a decision. So education's role is a catalytic and crucial role in enabling the society to identify, in its ability to identify the unknowns and convert those unknown mysteries and myths into science, scientific knowns. So there is no mystery and myths then. There will be no foolishness. So eradication of the foolishness in our day-to-day affairs, in our understanding, that comes from the truth, and the truth will only be known when education is allowed to freely, to democratically play its role in converting the known science, in unknown mysteries and myths into known science. That is what I said, that closing the bridge, the bridging between the known science and the unknown mysteries. You see, just to quote an example, I don't have much time, just to quote an example, you go to the Newtonian, period. How was the world living, and the society was leading its life? The life of the humankind is built upon the contemporary inventions or discoveries of known science. When Newton invented gravitational forces, discovered gravitational forces, not invented, discovered. And later on, electromagnetic forces were discovered. It was a classical physics. So eventually, the part and parcel of our life and endeavors, the human endeavors, were built upon this classical physics. The classical physics those days were nothing about concentrating on two forces, gravitational force and electromagnetic force. Through that we came out with radios and telecommunications and automotives and automobiles and lot of developments. The human activities have been getting changed. Education played a role, at least partially. So we did. But majority of the people had the opportunity to acquire this knowledge or be benefited by this knowledge or not. Not is the answer. So education has failed. You had Newtonian theories, gravitational forces, electromagnetic forces, the classical physics benefited few, maybe few automobile owners and corporate bodies and the traders and business communities. And especially it's benefited those who are ruling the society. I mean those who have the authority, the social authority and social status in the social hierarchical system in India. They are benefited. But these Newtonian or gravitational electromagnetic forces, the classical forces, invented 100, 200, 500 years ago, and these forces were not used for the benefit of the majority of the people, because the people were blindfolded, because education was not doing its job. Even the church had put somebody sentenced to death because he said the earth is globe. You now understand how religions play. Religions play a crucial role. It suppresses scientific inventions and discoveries. It doesn't allow education for the benefit of the society. It doesn't allow education to serve for the benefit of the society. That is why a person 500, 600 years ago was sentenced to death just because he said that the earth is a globe. So religion said the earth is flat, it is not a globe, it is not round. The same happens now. The national education policy talks about Indian-centric education. Indian pride and Indian ethos. That is the vision of the document, NEP 2020. The vision states Indian ethos. What is that Indian ethos? It would be like the earth is flat, isn't it? It's going to be. They are going to teach us the earth is going to be flat because somebody said so 2000 years ago. Somebody said so, the earth was flat 2000 years ago. Because of that, we will be forced to learn that. That is what the education is going to be. Dating back 2000, 2500 years ago is what NEP 2020 is planning to do. Are we ready to accept that? Okay, in the old classical physical systems, we were not able to get what we are supposed to have got. We didn't get that, right? Because majority of the people do not know even the earth is flat or globe, and majority of us were not able to achieve the benefit of the technologies and scientific inventions and discoveries because education has failed us. The educative capacity of the society is absolutely zero in this country, especially in India. Because when society is able to overcome its problems and challenges and through the scientific means and scientific inventions and discoveries, what is going to happen? We all will be benefited. But it didn't happen. So that means this society is undemocratic, socially divided as watertight compartments, and virtually there is no communications and exchange of ideas and knowledge and the truths. And only a democratic society will help education to achieve its business, its objectives. An undivided is a divided, a segregated, watertight compartment caste system would not allow the people to exchange ideas and reveal the truth. It would not. What is the answer for this question? For my question in NEP 2020, you ask Kasturi Rangan to tell me. I want Kasturi Rangan to tell me or tell this part of the world. Do you have any answer to this question that I raised? I repeatedly raised for 2 years. Now I am raising again. The enlightened policy makers of this country should tell us. No question. So democracy, undemocratic society will not help. But now again, okay, gone is gone. Let us not dwell into the past endeavors and which are nonsense. Forget it. No problem. We have a new education policy, 2020. And in this new education policy, do we have answer at least for the 21st century human endeavors and human activities? The human endeavors and human activities are going to be largely controlled by a quantum field. It's modern physics, it's not classical physics. It's not going to be simply based on gravitational laws, gravitational force, or for that matter electromagnetic force. There are two more forces joined. The subatomic particles have forces, weak forces and strong forces. It's a nuclear force. And these weak forces and strong forces are there in the quantum field. You, me, the invisible electrons and atoms all are in the same field. That field is called quantum field. And this quantum field with superpositions of quanta and so much of subatomic particles playing their roles, and the human activities and our consciousness are going to be changed. Already it is getting changed. Google sitting there in the United States and controlling 7 billion people of the world. Their consciousness, their thought process are influenced by the Google now. That thought process are influenced by Google now. You and me are influenced without we know that our consciousness is influenced by them. That is what happened. So that means that what is there? Does National Education Policy 2020 helps us to face these challenges? If somebody is going to sit and modify our consciousness, influence our consciousness, and influence the way we have to think, is going to be influenced by the quantum field, quantum computing, quantum channel, and quantum teleportation. It is not far ahead, just only 20 years ahead. We all are, I think I will live another 20 years. Until I see this NEP is rejected and thrown out of India, I will live, right? I believe. So that means another 20 years I am going to be very, very active. I am going to see how this quantum field is going to influence us. So do we have this, since it is going to alter our consciousness, our thought process, and since the thought process is the process of that is to be related to pedagogy and learning in education, and what education should do in this transformation, in this technological scientific transformation that is happening now and that is going to be aggressive in the next in the immediate future. What is the answer? Do we have the answer? And another one point that I must submit to you, the production and means of production is basically the human activity. Production and means of production. Surpluses, value, labor value, all have been defined. Many of our forefathers until Karl Marx, Adam Smith, Ricardo, Karl Marx, everybody defined what is the labor and labor value and how the human activities are comprised of so many factors where the economy is involved, and how to share the benefit of the economy by the majority of the people, by the workers, by the capitalists, by the investors, and so on have been defined. But I would say that in these contemporary times, in recent times, with the advent of these quantum mechanics and applications in all fields, in our day-to-day affair, we have to redefine what is labor value and the salary and the other benefits involved. Will we get? Have we defined? Can education help me to define that? Do we have an education having a role in defining and redefining the human activities, that is the production and means of production, to ensure that every one of these 7 billion people living in this world have their share, have the opportunity to endeavor into this system and get what they want? That is what education should do. That is what a national education policy should answer. Most of these questions I asked here now were not answered by the National Education Policy 2020. Please, this is taking us 200, 2000, 2500 years back, but Indian-centric, Indian tradition, Indian cultural revivalism. It is not taking us towards the 21st century. It is not taking us even to the next 20 years. That's my viewpoint. So that means that we will be largely a barbaric society, not an enlightened society. I'm having a coat and pant, and yes, I am a barbarian. I'm going to be a barbarian in the NEP 2020. I'm quite sure. I'm not going to be an enlightened, educated person. For that matter, I'm the Vice Chancellor. I have a PhD. I'm going to be a barbarian in the next 20 years. I'm thinking about my fellow citizens who do not have the PhD and who do not have the opportunity to get the enlightenment that I got so far. I'm worried about my fellow citizens, brothers and sisters. Please, this is the moment. Don't take it lightly. And this is the moment we all should show the solidarity. The solidarity is very, very important. And we must raise above all the oppressions and suppressions with all superpowers and political powers we are getting suppressed now. We must raise above and tell this world and educate our companions and our fellow citizens that yes, it is against the humanity and it is destructive in nature and it must be rejected. For that reason, we must reject, we all must join hands to reject National Education Policy 2020, and organizations like ISEC, the All India Safe Education Committee, and many more organizations bearing their boundaries and jurisdictions of activities, they all must join hands regardless of caste, creed, all those things, to remove this devastation and create, not just to only reject, but create our own education policy that is good for and benefit of the majority of the people. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you.
கடவுளை விட உன் சாஸ்திரத்தை விட உன் முன்னோரை விட உன் வெங்காயம் வழக்கமாத்தை விட உன் அறிவு பெருசு அதை சிந்தி